Friends, welcome back to another episode of the Find Your Way podcast with Dusty. Hopefully you're doing well on your journey. Thanks for tuning in. Got a recent message and quite a few comments recently in regards to the beginning of my running journey and what that looked like, and kind of spelling out what the beginning is. That's something that I can tend to lose touch with. Now, nine years into this journey of losing weight and keeping it off, it's like the more I keep it off, the more I distance myself from remembering how it was before. And I never want to do that. I never want to forget where I was, because that really positioned me to push and not to get complacent. And I think about my running journey. I've always wanted to be an active person. I think when I got to my top weight, it just made it so difficult to even walk that running wasn't even a factor. But I remember going through various bouts of losing 100 or 75 pounds. We're talking through my 20s and to my 30s, 15 years that I was fluctuating strongly in weight, going up 100 and then going down 125, going up 75, losing fit, like going back and forth. And I remember every time that I got to a lower weight, I've always wanted to go for a run. I've always really enjoyed that. Something that's always been remarkable for me is the places that you can see. At a friend at the time worked at the Patent and Trade Office out of DC, and he lived just miles away from the Washington Monument. So I remember during a bout of weight loss where I was a little bit lighter, or I felt lighter, I was probably 350 pounds, and I was going for a run. And I remember running by and touching the Washington Monument, and I can't believe you can just walk up to it. And it was just such a remarkable feeling of exploring and venturing out, that I've really kind of taken to heart running and how special it is, because you can see things and see the world and not just be cooped, say, in a car, but you're seeing a mass amount of space, and you're able to kind of take a disconnect. It can become therapeutic. And so I remember during this particular journey of weight loss, right around, oh goodness, I would say right around 400 pounds is when I felt that, no, I wouldn't even say because I'd probably say 300. I think 350 for me is like the magic number of hey, this is when you feel that you can run. The reason why I connected is most stair machines out of a commercial commercial gym, it'll have a little marker that the recommended weight capacity for a stair climber is 350. So I remember building up my endurance on the stair climber, and that endurance led to me getting a little bit more stable when it came to running on the treadmill. So I would say that I really began to put a foot forward at 350 pounds. But we're talking about a 14 to 15 minute mile, to where it's like I'm jog walking. I'm not walking. It's almost like I'm lifting my shoulders to have the assertion of running, but I could walk similar to the same speed if I did like a speed walk. But I remember starting to run right around 350 pounds, and it was very much painful to start. It was very achy. I was having a lot of problems when it came to my knees, my hips. I'd get very sore, very achy, and I'd have to recover usually for 1 to 2 days. I remember actually not being as consistent, because it's like I ran for a bit and then I got really achy. I got really sore, and I'd have to take like 2 or 3 days off, and then I would start again. And I think the in-between for me was getting on the stair machine. The stair machine was so integral in building my endurance and building that kind of strength in my legs. And so it was almost as if I would run and then use the stair machine to build up endurance and build up kind of stamina. And then I would try to pursue the running again. Now, none of this is competitive running. None of this is doing a 5K. I just didn't even think that was in the route of possibility for me. I just thought it was something that, you just go for a run. It's almost like I didn't realize it's not like I didn't realize it was 5Ks, but it's like I I didn't have a scope of it. It was just going for a run. And so really a lot of my journey was running a mile in the very beginning. Okay, I'm going to run a mile, and that mile is going to be me running, or I'm going to go run outside, and I'm going to go to this point and back. And oftentimes it was at max 2 miles. I remember 5 miles being huge, and such a 5 miles, like it was such a big distance that now that I'm pacing half marathons, I look at a half marathon and that distance doesn't seem much to me now years later. But in the very beginning, running for me was getting the right shoes and getting headphones and getting a hat on. I didn't want, I'd pass traffic or I'd pass people on the streets running, and I just knew that they may have something to say, me being a bigger guy running. So for me, the easiest way for me to kind of stay centered with my focal point of going for a run and wanting to commit to my goal was drowning out and eliminating the noise from outside and putting a hat on that was low. If it was glasses, if it was a hoodie, if it was headphones, it was just shutting out everything else, and me versus me working on me and me focusing on me and getting better. And as the weight came off, I found myself going through bouts of trying to do my fastest mile and trying to see what I can do. And I really didn't jump into running and really working on my 5K, 10K distance time until about 6 years in, 6 or 7 years in. We're talking about, since we moved to Tennessee. Before that, it was just, hey, going for a run. There was no time expectation. There was no, hey, I wanted to beat a prior time, sure, but there was no, what's my 5K, what's my 10K? I didn't really get into that at all, and maybe I wish I should have, or maybe I could have gotten better if I did, but I know that wasn't really the focal point. But for me, if I were to translate this over to, hey, you want to start running, for me, it felt okay, very sore, very tough at times at 350 pounds, but I was able to push through by building stamina and endurance through the stair machine, and that really, really helped. And I would say, that is one integral part in me really developing a endurance or a building up of being able to do more is really the stair machine. I think that's why the stepper was so big when I got it over here to the garage, is that it's adding to that journey of me wanting to get better running. So if you're interested in running and you're a higher weight, don't discount the stair machine. Try that. Hold on to the handles if you haven't done it before. Do all that you can to grip and start there, and then slowly start building your running up. And I think that's going to really, really help build that I want to run and I want to get better running. You don't have to start by running. You can start by building a good base with the stair machine. I would say that's definitely a big recommendation. So I'm here at my destination, about 8-9 minutes in. These are quick, but I hope that's not bad. Hopefully this is a nice in-between work or in-between somewhere. But I will be putting this one out soon. Thank you again for tuning into this episode, and I'll talk to you on the next one. Take care.